What's the good word, y'all? It's your boy DKB here. A little lunch break special. Trying to keep up on some of the free agency news, some of the Aaron Rodgers watch party drama, and things seem juicy today. I will say, I think I am much more confident in the report that we seen from Trey Wingo yesterday. Um, Pretty much advising that the Aaron Rodgers deal was done. Seems like there may be some particulars that we're trying to work out and all that kind of stuff. But there was another interesting thought by the name's escaping me. But either way, fan of the channel, he dropped some thoughts about it. For anybody that's not familiar, Aaron Rodgers' contract, it has some odd stipulations in it in terms of the money, how that gets manipulated, all that kind of stuff, right? So let me see if I can find it real quick. But from what I understand off the top of my head, basically he has an option bonus of some kind that is due on the 17th of March. And there's like a 2-week time frame or something like that, if I'm remembering correctly, in order for I don't know what the condition is on it, but basically by March 17th or after, I think this is where the trade, tricks come in. Contract, let me see. So yeah, depending on when it's initiated, I guess, determines if and when the new team that's acquiring Aaron Rodgers would have to pay them something along those lines. Jason, what's good, my man? Darren Waller to the Giants. Wow. When it comes to Patriots coaches that become head coaches for the first time, I think they are very set in their ways on trying to build the team in really the only fashion they've ever seen it. So I can't really blame them too much, but I don't know. Anybody's bad luck in the AFC is only good news for us. Let me see. So Aaron Rodgers' contract, he signed a 3-year, $150.8 million extension. This included a $40.8 million signing bonus. The full thing was guaranteed. Averaging $50.2 million a year. Rodgers will earn a base salary of $1.165 million, a signing bonus of $58.3 million, and a workout bonus of $50,000. Has a cap hit of $31.6 million and a dead cap value of $99 million. Let me see. Let's run through this just in case anybody catches anything that I may miss. All right, so this is according to Spotrac. Contract notes. Okay, so $101.515 million was guaranteed at signing. This is between the salary, the roster bonus, his 2023 salary, and this 2023 option bonus is, I think, where we are all concerned about. In terms of how this will affect the New York Jets and what we bring on from them. So $58.3 million has to be exercised between March 17th of 2023 and the first week of the NFL season. Okay, so I think this is the key piece here. So the person that brought this up was basically saying that we were never going to get a confirmation that the Aaron Rodgers trade was confirmed until the 17th, when the option bonus can be kicked in, and then I think this will determine how much the New York Jets end up taking on, how much of a cap hit in 2023 and beyond the New York Jets may be responsible for. So this may be the portion that the New York Jets and the Green Bay Packers are arguing, or potentially what the Aaron Rodgers may need to try to get restructured as well. 2024 option bonus to exercise. Declining either the 2023 or 2024 options converts the base salary for that year into the bonus figure. Okay, so yeah, I'm not a cap expert, so I can't go 100% deep into it, but this would be ideally what I imagine the conversations are centered around. I think a trade in terms of the package, what picks and or players look like, is pretty much figured out, at least until the news dropped today, right? Aaron Rodgers apparently provided a wish list of sorts. I would consider it a Super Bowl wish list, because that's pretty much the territory we're in. It's going to be Super Bowl or bust for this New York Jets franchise with Aaron Rodgers. Whether it's for 1 year, 2 years, we have to look at it that way, especially with the commitments and the additional resources that we are pouring into trying to build a complete team for him. So, according to what I seen, some of the names on the list: Odell Beckham Jr. Apparently, Aaron Rodgers has been wanting to play with this man since I believe the 2021 season. They had a little bit of an overlap at some point. Obviously, Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard on the list. The one that blew me was Mercedes Lewis, former tight end. I can't wrap my head around it. For one, taking a look at our tight end room, I don't think you're going to find too many readily available upgrades, right? Unless you were to, Jason, you mentioned Darren Waller going to the Giants. Like a guy like that coming over, that will potentially make sense. He's proven, I'm pretty sure he's reached 1,000, if not gotten very close to flirting with it over the last couple seasons. And so you get the impact there. But Mercedes Lewis, if I'm let's just see what he's looking at for now. I was almost positive this dude was out of the league. So 2-year contract, $5.9 million. Contract isn't crazy, so that's great news. But what has he done? I don't think he's done anything even close to significant. Let me repost this again. All right, so what does his numbers look like? Played in 16 games, just under 500 snaps, a whopping 7 targets. He's called in 6 of them for 66 yards and 2 touchdowns. Let me see something. I don't remember who all Green Bay has, but I want to say Robert Tonyan is option number 1 for them, right? In the tight end room. And then there's got to be another guy. So let's take a look. So they had, in some form or fashion, Austin Allen, Josh Babbitts, Sean Beyer, Tyler Davis, Josiah Dikwara. That was the tight end they traded for from the Patriots. Nick Gugemos, Mercedes Lewis, Robert Tonyan. Okay, so maybe Mercedes Lewis was the number 2 option. I'm not sure if Josiah was able to get any kind of significant play. Let me see. Yeah, it doesn't look like he was overly involved. Played in 2 games. He caught 1 ball for 12 yards. Yeah. So Mercedes Lewis was probably the number 2 option. I would say easily our tight end room is better than what the Packers would offer. So I don't know what Mercedes Lewis is bringing to the room that we don't already have, unless he's planning on maybe having us bump down, I don't know, Jeremy Ruckert. Jeremy Ruckert, to me, He's still an unknown, but at least from what I checked out, that last game of the season, in an article that X Factor wrote up on it, you could see that the blocking skills that translated there were excellent for that game, much better than anything that we've seen from CJ over the course of the season. Granted, CJ probably wasn't playing the role that he originally would have planned for. As far as the other names, though, I don't know how I feel about Odell Beckham Jr. coming in. We are already seeing all of the drama unfold with a guy like Aaron Rodgers coming in, right? And he's not even 100% in right now. Other than that, we have a pretty legit room. The only other person you could have some concerns about, in my opinion, at least in the wide receiver room, would be Elijah Moore. Even though he was able to kind of turn things around, and the coaching staff talked up how well he responded once he got incorporated into the game plans and stuff later in the season, there is no way coming off a huge Packers win that was looking like it was going to set us up for a huge playoff entrance. Everybody was extremely high in their feelings on the team at the time. And let's not forget, we punished the Packers at that point. We ran away on the scoreboard. So coming off a win like that, just because you didn't get involved, that seemed like a bit much for me personally. But I guess it is what it is. The game is the game, as they say, and we'll see. I still think Elijah Moore, out of him and Denzel Mims, is probably the most likely to get traded. A higher return in terms of whatever trade picks come in, and he's had the better proven production so far out of the two. 100% Super Bowl run in 2024. We will win it too. I hope so. Okay, I very much so hope so. I'm not saying I want this to happen, but I would 1,000% take nothing less than losing to I don't know who will probably be in the Super Bowl for the NFC next year. Maybe the 49ers, maybe the Eagles again, something like that. But a Super Bowl loss will be the only acceptable, caveat to the season. Everything else definitely has to come away with winning the Super Bowl for me. But let me see what else has been going on with NFL free agency, because work has been nuts and I have not been able to escape until recently. So I'm pretty sure the Jets haven't made any moves, at least from the last time that I was able to keep tabs. Let's see. I think that is a video I don't want to check. I think the wide receivers just started coming off the board too, if I remember correctly, right? Jacoby Myers went to the Raiders. Is this from today? Kelvin Beachum to the Cardinals, Falcons, Lorenzo Carter, Jonnu Smith. Some of these seem new. Hold on. Let me see if I can find dates for some of these. Man, the tracker that they put out today that I'm seeing does not look as good as the one I seen yesterday. Hold the phone. I did see the update on what we ended up ultimately paying Greg Zerline, though, our kicker, and I am very excited. I thought he was going to get something like $4 to $5 million. We re-signed him as another 1-year deal, so we're not confident in the long term, apparently. But we got him on a 1-year deal, $3.5 million. I don't know if it's fully guaranteed, but I'm glad that we're not cycling through kickers once again. All right, what do we have? So the Pats have signed Calvin Anderson, tackle. The Lions are re-signing John Kaminsky, a defensive lineman. Steelers are re-signing safety DeMonte Kazi. Lions are signing cornerback Emmanuel Mosley. Dolphins are re-signing Jeff Wilson, the running back. Okay, I see the trade that you mentioned, Jason. So Darren Waller goes to the Giants. They're getting a third-round draft pick and... Okay, I thought I seen a third and a seventh. Okay, so they traded a third and got themselves a tight end. The Steelers signed Nate Herbig. I forgot about that. I seen that when I was heading off to like a quick break earlier today. So we lost Nate Herbig. I thought he would be a priority for us as the main backup. Was good, Dark Soldier. Just kind of running through some news, chatting a little bit about the Rodgers wish list and all that. But as far as the free agency tracker, so yeah, we lost Nate Herbig to the Steelers. I don't remember his name. I want to say it's potentially the GM that's over there, but I know Nate Herbig had a connection with a guy that was originally on the Eagles staff when they scouted him. And there was some kind of quote that he felt like Nate Herbig has the makings to be a starter on the offensive line. So for what he got, I felt like we could have got him. So maybe he wasn't as high on the priority list as I thought. But Nate Herbig to the Steelers, 2 years, $8 million, $4 million of that guaranteed. Maybe that's a bit much for a backup, but for a durable guy that can, at least from what we've seen, be a spot starter for you, I think that's a little bit of a steal. That's tough. The Steelers they've been trolling, in my opinion, for quite a while because I'm still upset about them stealing Jonathan Marshall, the defensive tackle from us last year. 49ers, they re-signed center Jake Brendel. So that also goes the potential opportunity for us to probably get an easily transitionable player. I know it seemed like we had a strong interest, but he got a 4-year deal from him. Didn't he do well last year for us? Yeah. Nate Herbig, in my opinion, was the best offensive lineman after all of the injuries outside of Connor McGovern. Granted, Dwayne Brown kind of had the bum shoulder he was playing with and all that, but I know X Factor pulled up some statistics. He was the best run blocker after Connor McGovern, ironically. His pass blocking left a lot to be desired, but he was serviceable. I want to say he only gave up 2 sacks, if I remember correctly. With this Jake Brendel re-signing by the 49ers, though, I get the feeling that we will probably end up trying to bring back Connor McGovern, more likely than not. And that's probably going to be more from like a familiarity standpoint, but we'll see if Mr. Rodgers has anything to say about it. Saints rework Michael Thomas's deal. They've agreed to a 1-year, $10 million contract. Looks like he has incentives that can make it $15 million. That's crazy. I heard Saints fans going crazy when I heard about this restructure because he's played something like 3 games in the last 10 years, something along those lines. I still can't get over this list that Aaron Rodgers sent. He wants tight end Mercedes Lewis, who we just checked out, Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, and Odell Beckham Jr. Alan Lazard obviously makes sense. He was going to be one of the top 3 options to replace Corey Davis either way. But yeah, I'm not sure about Odell Beckham Jr. because I'm sure in his mind he still thinks he's a number 1 wide receiver. Randall Cobb would be an easy upgrade over a guy like Braxton Berrios. How does he expect the Jets to sign all of these wide receivers and tight ends? It's manageable. I mean, Alan Lazard. So Jacoby Myers went for 3 years, $33 million, I think, right? And he was supposed to be one of the, I think he was the highest rated or projected wide receiver for this free agency period. Um, Definitely a better route runner than a guy like Alan Lazard. There's a lot to like, right? Similar skill sets, all that good stuff. So if he's going for 3 years, 33, I can't imagine Alan Lazard going for much more. Now, I do know from what I was able to, key into, there's 2 or 3 other teams that apparently jumped into the race. So, we're not just betting against ourselves anymore. Maybe that drives up the price tag a little bit. But I think anything over 13, 14 million a year is probably pushing it. So at that price tag, that's not crazy. What is Randall Cobb's contract looking like? Randall Cobb is on so he had a 3-year, $27 million contract. Is this his third year? This is the contract he had from the Texans. So yeah, he's on his third year. He's making, am I reading this right? He's making 1.3 million in his last year of his contract. Same debt cap hit. So I mean, it's, if I'm understanding this correctly, it's at least an easy fit for him. The tight end though, Mercedes Lewis, I already ran through this. That makes absolute zero sense to me. I don't know any other NFL team that has a, let's not say better, but I'll go deeper tight end room than us. The average of those 4 players is 32 years old. Yeah. This is the Aaron Rodgers effect, though. In my head, the way I'm trying to rationalize it is that if he obviously likes the core of our group, right? There's been no talk about we'll get rid of, Elijah Moore, get rid of Corey Davis, or do this or that to acquire my player. And, this is just a wish list. So unless, let's say we don't go out and sign 2 of these 3 guys, right? Let's say maybe we only come away with Alan Lazard. Unless he's willing to, say, well, the trade is off the table if you guys don't pick up another 1 or 2 of these guys, I can't see it being too much of an issue, right? I've heard Joe Douglas likes some other wide receivers that are out there as well. So us bringing in Alan Lazard doesn't automatically mean that we're cutting Corey Davis. It doesn't automatically mean that we're going to get Randall Cobb and or take a look at another option in free agency. So I'm not excited about acquiring more veteran players. I think we have a pretty solid group of those guys already built into the roster that's been here for a year or 2 already itself. But if it's going to make Aaron Rodgers more comfortable and, get him to play to the Super Bowl level that we need him to play to, I don't mind sacrificing some, chunk change for it. I strongly believe Joe Douglas isn't going to get us into any crazy situations where we're paying millions and millions and millions of dollars over, market value. If it's a source of pride that other teams want our players before Joe Douglas went to cut a player, no other team wanted. Facts. I'm with you, Jason. All in the same token, though, it hurts all the same. It's more of a Madden thing than real life, right? It always plays out different, but I've always had an affinity for some of the guys that have been at the bottom tier of our rosters that I felt like could have been stars if they got more playing time. So I'm talking guys like Jonathan Marshall potentially heading into his 3rd year. I'm talking guys like Antonio Allen at the time. I'm talking guys like Bilal Powell when he had an opportunity in between like Sean Green and LT and guys like those kind of exiting the building. So it is what it is. But I will say it's a huge step up. I remember last year, a lot of us were complaining about who made the practice squad. We Nobody that I've ever, had conversations with, uh, at least in the short term that I've been trying to run through this, nobody's given two flying pigeons about who was on the practice squad. So I'll take it. I don't mind Lazard, but Cobb, OBJ, and Lewis. Yeah, I'm with you. I am 100% with you. I can't. Cobb makes sense to me in the standpoint that as a pure slot receiver, his talent versus Braxton Berrios is an upgrade. If I was checking out Randall Cobb's contract correctly, he's only hitting for. Let me see if I can find over the cap to confirm. So he had the 3-year, 27 million, right? Is he making 3 million this year? Am I reading this right? Hold on. Let me share with y'all so I can make sure I'm not going nuts. Okay, dead contract. So his contract expired then. It ran through 2022. So he's a free agent. I was reading this wrong. Okay. Well, that solved that pretty easily. So, I mean, he's coming off 3 years, 27 million. We gave Braxton 2 years, 12 million. I don't know what kind of contract would he get. 2 years, 17 million, something like that, probably. I don't think he's returning punts as well, so I don't know what that looks like, right? Braxton Berrios, I would imagine the replacement is going to have to offer the same similar skill set because you very easily have Elijah Moore who can be your starting wide receiver, and then you can still slap Alan Lazard or Corey Davis on the boundary with Garrett Wilson. So I don't know. Randall Cobb's not the most likely, but I wouldn't hate the move depending on the price tag. If we get Lazard and Cobb, how does OBJ factor into all of this? We have Garrett and Moore in the slot. Yeah, I think it's just a wish list thing. From what I checked out before, Aaron Rodgers had crossed paths back with OBJ in like 2021, something like that. Either way, during one of his free agency years, he definitely wanted the Packers to go out and get Odell Beckham. And I think that was part of where I think that's before he signed his extension, right? So that's part of where a lot of the drama between the Packers and Aaron Rodgers started as well, because he felt like his opinions weren't being voiced or heard enough in the front office. So I think at this point, he just really wants to go out there and play with Odell Beckham Jr. But yeah, as far as like the roster fit, I don't know, because I wouldn't say, and I think he played pretty decently with the Rams. I wouldn't say he's even like an elite number 2 wide receiver right now. I think he gives you stronger production than Corey Davis, who I think is, essentially an average number 2 wide receiver. So I don't know. Maybe you can call him upper tier. I don't know. But that's kind of where I look at it. And at that point, you're talking about figuring out how to balance snaps for Alan Lazard, Odell Beckham Jr. And I would assume we just end up cutting Corey Davis at that point. But I've seen enough from, years past of Odell Beckham Jr. with him not really necessarily committing to helping out in run blocking and all of those different things that we would ask for. I can't see him being a guy that plays more in the slot than on the outside. So there's always a way to figure it out, but it just seems like a headache that we should, do everything in our power to avoid. I already wants Lewis because he has the best work ethic around, so maybe more of a leader presence than a tight end. That would make sense to me, but that is the equivalent, in my opinion, of us having Solomon Thomas in the defensive tackle room. When it came down to game days, he wasn't a guy that really did a whole lot to sway the needle in our direction. So I would say maybe keep Mercedes Lewis as a emergency break the glass option in case we have an injury over the offseason or something, and we revisit the conversation. And then if we just have him in the building, setting the example for Tyler Conklin, for guys like CJ, Jeremy Rucker, cool. But I'm not comfortable signing another Solomon Thomas type guy, or in this case, trading for him. But do we have a center yet? Barney, no center news. So the only stuff that we've heard doesn't necessarily pertain directly to us in terms of our building. But the 49ers did re-sign Jake Brendel to a 4-year deal, and that was one of the outside candidates that we were strongly looking at. I agree, but what other reasoning is there for a 38-year-old tight end? What reasoning is there to have to go and put yourself in a dark room with a rug for 4 days? I don't know. Aaron Rodgers is a different kind of beast. But I would imagine this just goes into him trying to prepare himself for life in New York. Surround yourself with all of the guys that you are the most comfortable with, that has put in the work to be productive to whatever standards you imagine is acceptable. So I get it, but ultimately people care about production over work ethic. So I mean, there's been plenty of stories out there about guys that are drinking and partying all weekend, and all during the week, going to the club the night before games, and then on game day they still go ball out and put up a couple touchdowns or 100+ yard game, multiple sacks, whatever it is. So that can't be the end all be all, in my opinion. OBJ is a headache, but so is A-Rod. Unfortunately, this Chase the Hall of Famer is going to change the culture. I think this is why they say Salah and JD would have grabbed Carr if it was up to them. Yeah, 100%. We've talked about this on the Jets Flight Squad a couple of times since we got the show back going again. And I 100%, pretty much from the jump, thought that Woody Johnson was going to 100% be in Aaron Rodgers' corner, and he was going to force Joe Douglas's hand. Robert Saleh, by default, is always going to try to lean pretty heavily on Joe Douglas, in my opinion, especially when it comes to the offensive side of things. But I think everybody understands from a short-term and long-term perspective, Derek Carr was the guy. Don't get me wrong. At this point, I want Aaron and would cheer for Aaron, but the vibe that Salah built these last 2 years is about to change for better or worse. I don't this kind of ties back into your culture change comment too. I don't know if I'm willing to go that far. Aaron Rodgers is definitely out there, right? And then we're adding in guys that he wants potentially anyways, like Odell Beckham Jr. and all this kind of stuff. But Robert Saleh has done such a masterful job with all of the drama that could have been much bigger last year, that I feel comfortable with him being able to kind of temper anything that gets too chaotic, even if it is at the hands of like an Aaron Rodgers. What I get concerned about is that Robert Saleh doesn't have an elite offensive acumen. So I get concerned that what's going to ultimately happen is Aaron Rodgers is going to be treated as like a head coach of sorts for the offense. And then we'll start having questions that the media presents that is more so directed to Aaron Rodgers and kind of excluding Robert Saleh. And then essentially what will happen is that you'll start having the media run with, Aaron Rodgers wants to do this, and this for the offense versus what Robert Saleh may be saying we're trying to implement, or a game plan that we're building, or how we want to attack somebody. And then, that leaks out. But as you mentioned, Barney, I'm in your corner, right? We're just going to hope for the best. I do it with any and every player we bring in, whether I understand the pick or not. They can come in and have success. I'm all for it. Let's see what else is happening in free agency. Chargers are granting running back Austin Eckler permission to seek a trade. I don't think he would be a target for us still, but I think the Jets will sign center Ben Jones from Tennessee. I do. Ben Jones has been growing on me more and more. But I haven't dived super deep into the tape, and I've like superficially looked at some of the stats that he's posted. So um, the only thing that really appeals to me is more so from like an aesthetic standpoint, right? He's pretty much been the coordinator for excuse me, he's pretty much been the orchestrator for a top 5 rushing attack over multiple years. So I think there's a level of physicality that we'll be able to get out of a guy like Ben Jones that a guy like Connor McGovern didn't quite bring us. I also think just by virtue of that, because I feel like it's probably harder to coordinate run blocking than it is pass blocking, but I wouldn't know anything about it. I think the coordination across the line would probably be easily more recognizable as improved under a guy like Ben Jones. Barney, the guy that you're thinking about is the other Connor McGovern from the Dallas Cowboys. He got signed to, where did he go? Connor McGovern went to the Bills. That's what it was. What else do we have? Bears re-signed fullback, a long snapper, and offensive lineman Dieter Iselin. Okay, and then okay. So Lamar Jackson news. Apparently, he dropped a tweet today. 3 years, 133 million, fully guaranteed, but I need an agent. He was referring to, who was he referring to? 3 years, 133 million. I don't remember any quarterback getting that. Derek Carr got 150. Jimmy Garoppolo got like 70, I think, right? Jimmy Garoppolo got a 3-year, 72.75. That's weird. Maybe he was talking about his own negotiations. Maybe that's the last deal that the Ravens offered him, a fully guaranteed 3-year, $133 million contract. I'm not quite sure. Bills re-signed themselves, linebacker Tyrell Dodson, some other guys on here. It doesn't seem like there's any game-breaking guys. Random Jets fan. That's what the Ravens offered him, and he turned it down. Is that the most recent offer? Because the last numbers I remember hearing was something like 260 million with 170 something guaranteed, but he's pushing hard for that fully guaranteed 250 range. The Jets did not put a tender on wide receiver Jeff Smith, so this may be the first legitimate time that he does not return to the team. I got you, Barney. Trust me, when I'm on the Bleacher Report app, they do this for anybody that doesn't know anyways, they do this they have a feature in there where it auto pulls in like tweets and stuff from around the NFL, but obviously from Twitter, and they always have Connor McGovern from the Cowboys stuff in there. It's maddening. I think it was the first offer they made him. Okay. 3 years, 133 million is kind of crappy, even if it is fully guaranteed, considering I think a lot of people would say Derek Carr is leaps and bounds ahead of him. And he's only touching 100 and what did I say? 155 million? 150 with 100 million guaranteed. No, Jeff Smith. There goes our offense. I got you. Jeff Smith is man. He's been a guy that's really irritated me because every preseason we hear about how he's just been a star in camp, how he's balling out, he's Randy Mossing people, he's running up the yards after catch, and then he disappears literally during preseason games. He's like the best practice squad player that's ever lived, and then the games come on and we don't hear much. He'll offer a splash player too, and then that's really where his career lives and dies. So I won't miss him. I don't even think, from what I recall, I don't remember him really even breaking off too many huge special team plays for us. It will be interesting to see how we rebuild the bottom of our roster, though. I know guys kept saying they liked the Calvin Jackson kid. And if I'm remembering, Calvin Jackson's the smaller, shiftier wide receiver that caught the game-winning balls from Chris Streveler when he was playing his little hero moment during the preseason. Who's our backup this year? Zach. No, we talked about this a little bit yesterday too. I think Aaron Rodgers is ultimately going to become our starter. I think Robert Saleh will feel safe and feel his safest, and also not necessarily have to deal with the media as much from this standpoint, if he can find a way to get another veteran quarterback that's established behind Aaron Rodgers. Make Zach Wilson QB3, and hopefully, outside of a couple of early questions, we never have to hear anything from Zach Wilson about even getting close to starting on the football field. Ideally, that's the best situation. Let him grow in that role, because I don't know how you sell it to the team that a guy that got beat out by Chris Streveler, by Mike White, and pretty much 34 other quarterbacks around the league. I don't know how you sell to the team that he's going to be in a legitimate starting quarterback battle or even a starting backup battle. Starting backup, that defeated the whole purpose, but a backup quarterback competition. I don't know how you sell either one of those. He would need to progress his way back up. Just prove that you can be a guy that, is able to survive in the NFL. Then you can worry about being able to hold the clipboard as a backup quarterback. And then ideally, he will still be able to become a starter with a strong skill set. Chargers have signed Trey Pipkins III to a 3-year deal. I was thinking about this last night too. I don't think that I don't know if we really end up signing a tackle during free agency. Dwayne Brown's coming back. Mekhi Becton, he's been looking like a tight end. I don't know if everybody's seen his most recent workout pictures, but the man doesn't even look like he'd be over 300 pounds right now. Max Mitchell would come back from blood clots, hopefully fully healthy, and continuing on his upward trend. And then I know there's a name I'm forgetting. Max Mitchell and oh no, that might be it, huh? I think the rest of the guys were the ones that we signed late in the year. Either way, though, I think ultimately we may not need to sign a tackle. I think we probably do go the draft route, and we may be able to wait until the second round. Hope DQB8 out there and smash the like button. Appreciate you, Barney. I said he looks like he's 290. Yeah, it's mad wild. If you post him right next to like a guy like Tyler Conklin or something, you would think they have similar body frames. Let me see if I can find maybe like some kind of side by side, potentially of him versus another guy on our team. But yeah, he looks mad skinny. Like even you could see it in his face. And I want to say Rich Samini maybe called it out originally, but like he just looks he looks completely different. Where is it? Okay, so here's one of them. I doubt I'm gonna be able to get a side by side. That actually shouldn't surprise me either because the man has he has been a master at dodging the media last year. I don't know if there's a better one that'll pop up, but yeah, this is essentially what he's looking like. The man is built like a tight end. You don't there's no pudge here. Okay, the face still has a little chunk, but I remember him looking more like Professor Clump for a while there. I'm just glad he's finally taking being conditioned to the NFL series. To be honest though, I think he's probably still because he's different. He's built different. He's built different. So he's probably we thought he weighed as much as like 360 at some point last year, from what I remember on the reports. I would imagine he's probably going to play around like 320, maybe at the lowest end of the spectrum. We also have to keep in mind it's not like he's just losing all of the weight outright. A lot of that's being converted into the muscle, so he's still going to have it there. It's just not going to be carried the same way. Becton too skinny now. I think that's the most recent one that he's been posting. The man loves his social media, so big ticket, nice little ticket. Facts. Hey, all facts. It's funny to me because in both of the mock drafts I've done, I want to say against my better judgment, I've tried to target the Ohio State kid Dewan Jones both times. Essentially another big ticket. It would be wild though if we do find a way to go out and get him via trade back or something, and then he takes the same route Mekhi Becton does, not with all of the injuries and the overweight stuff. He doesn't have those same kind of problems, but maybe he takes to this new workout plan or diet that Mekhi Becton has put himself on. Okay, a potential linebacker that we thought we would be interested in. I think this may be dependent on if we could bring back Quincy or Quan. But the Titans signed linebacker Aziz Al-Shair, which was formerly of the 49ers. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any extremely crazy news day two, so that works. Biggie Smalls ticket. the Schmedium ticket. As long as it's still Highway 77, I'm good with that. I'm so excited. When I dug into Nathaniel Hackett's background, I'm so excited with how run oriented I think that we're going to be this time around, because Mekhi Becton is going to get a chance to do what he's always wanted to do since his rookie season, and just be able to get the mall people 70% of the time. And it's going to be fun to watch because he's been slapping people around in practice and all of that. Quincy re-signed with us, right? Yeah, he got a 3-year, $18 million deal. 9 million guaranteed. From that, 3 years, 18 million. Yeah, pretty much 9 million guaranteed. It's a smart move. He got signed for about the range that I thought. I want to say Gunny was fighting me on this. He thought Quincy Williams was only worth about 2 or 3 million per year. Figured that's a bit low, but it's a smart move. High upside guy. He was much less of a random firecracker last year. So I think if anything, even though Hamza Nasruddin has kind of seemed like he might be a failed project, Jamie Sherwood seems like he may have some upside to be able to find his way onto the field before his rookie contract ends. I would say it's been somewhat proven. It's not to the level I thought it would have been. But Robert Sala's been able to prove that he, truly is indeed somewhat of a linebacker whisperer. Good signing. When will his brother sign? I don't know. So off-season workouts start, which is the deadline that he gave. Off-season workouts start in April. Let me see. And I think it's late April because the first couple weeks are relegated to new head coaches. So he wants his deal done before phase 1, which would be the start of it. And that is going to be for us May 23rd is the start of our workouts. Is this from... This might be the 2022 schedule. Hold on. Yeah, no, this looks legit. Okay. So May 23rd is the deadline time frame that we're looking at. He said at the combine, which was maybe 2 weeks ago, 2.5, 3 weeks ago. He said then that he felt like negotiations were in a good place. I think the Quincy Williams signing, outside of him just being a piece that could still develop in this roster and that has upside, it's kind of like a good faith gesture, especially since they haven't declared that they're a package deal, but they've definitely expressed that they want to play together. So ideally, I don't think he wants to rub right up against it. We also have the draft, though, which is taking place April 27th. So there's no reason to wait, right? We're not going to draft a tackle, a defensive tackle anyways. We're not going to draft a guy at number 13 unless somehow magically Jalen Carter slips maybe all the way down to 13 due to his issues. And we just feel comfortable scooping him up. But otherwise, I don't think we take him there. So I would imagine hopefully a week or two before the draft is when we get that set in stone. Especially because they're going to want to figure out how much exactly they need to commit. Don't do this. Don't do this to me, Wild Wave. What do you mean? 4 years, 44 million? Sir, what what do you mean? So you're telling me that Aaron Rodgers is signing? That's what I'm hearing. Eagles added running back Rashad Penny. Panthers cut guard Pat Elflein. I don't see an announcement anywhere. Is this facts? Who broke this news? Oh, crap. Okay. I see something from Jordan Schultz. Yeah. Jets are signing free agent wide receiver Alan Lazard on a 4-year, $44 million deal, $22 million guaranteed. Okay, so I wasn't too far off. Good looking, Wild Wave. I was not too far off. Jacoby Myers got the 3 years, $33 million, so it's about in line with that range. It's going to be about $11 million a year. Hey, so Corey Davis is gone, no? That's going to be a cut that's coming pretty soon. It has to be. I originally thought maybe they keep him on the roster, right? But that was before Aaron Rodgers' whole wish list fiasco. 4-year, $44 million. So we just copped ourselves a 6'5" wide receiver that has great run blocking skills. And we know that he has strong chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. I want to say he's caught 19 touchdowns from him over the course of his rookie contract. So maybe Corey Davis doesn't get cut. Maybe that's part of whatever this package deal was that Sauce first brought up. Corey Davis is getting shipped over to the Packers. Tit for tat type situation. Why would Aaron give a list before he signs? It would be easier to sign his wish list if he announces first that he's a Jet. You're not wrong, Leppy. In my head, what probably makes sense to him is that him announcing that he's going to join the Jets is just kind of like a cherry on top, right? Everybody else essentially has the understanding with the moves that the New York Jets are making that he's coming to New York. Doesn't make 100% sense. I'm not even saying it's nice, but yeah, I'm with you. It's, if anything, I would imagine you want to keep that hush hush, right? So yeah, I don't know. Lazard is here. He wouldn't have signed without knowing A-Rod was for real. Yeah, I think so too, Barney. I know that. I don't know if Alan Lazard tweeted it or it came up in an interview, but he clearly stated recently that he wasn't making any official moves until he knew what Aaron Rodgers was doing, because that was going to influence his decision. Whether Aaron Rodgers went to a spot that he didn't want to go to or not, he might not have joined us specifically, but I think this is a pretty strong indication. Nice to have a 6'5" wide receiver. True. I don't think we've had anybody taller than Corey Davis or Denzel Mims. Because Brandon Marshall was 6'3", right? Brandon Marshall was 6'5" too. Okay. So the tallest guy we've had since Brandon Marshall. And he has wheels on him. What was it Alan Lazard ran? Alan Lazard had a... No way. He only ran a 4.55. I feel like Alan Lazard runs like he runs a 4.4. That's fine though. Either way, he was going to be more of a possession receiver in our offense. So that's dope. You think we overpaid? I think we got fair value. I think we got excellent value. The initial projections was that he was going to see 14 million. And that might have been on the light end at the time because a lot of people were just referencing what happened last year with how the market went crazy. When Jacoby Myers signed his 3-year, $33 million contract, that was the notice for me that we were going to see a pretty strong decrease once again. I only thought Lazard was going to see 13 or 14 million a year because there was a few other teams that they were saying we were competing with. So yeah, I think it's actually below market value in my opinion. I see people saying we overpaid. Yeah, it's us. It's us. They're always going to say this. I can guarantee you the Packers fans that have like commented on my channel or that know me, they've been mentioning that they think it's not this contract because they don't know it, but I'm pretty sure they weren't thinking he was touching 100 million or something crazy. They were upset about potentially losing Alan Lazard. I want to see him making downfield blocks for Brees the Beast. Facts. I need to see him put paws on people. What's crazy but reality? We are like, he only ran a 4.5. That's true. That is very true. I remember for the longest in high school, maybe by the time like my freshman year, then I got used to it because I went to a high school that had a lot of like freaky built hood guys out here, 6'5", running like 4.3s and all kind of stuff. But I used to think tall guys were just automatically fast, and that's, as I've grown to learn, that's not always the case. A lot of lanky, choppy movements and all that. But yeah, it's I think a 6'5" guy running a 4.55 is smoking a lot of us on any day. Well, this has to be good news. I mean, we got one option on Rodgers' wish list already. Signed, sealed, and delivered. I will say this, regardless, Aaron Rodgers drama and all that aside, I think this legitimately might be our best overall roster, I still want to see what we do with some of the defensive signings we need. This might be our best overall roster since the last time we made it to the AFC Championship. I think it, I don't know if I'm ready to say clearly better, but I think we are legitimately in that conversation. That's crazy. Yeah, I just got all the little notifications to my phone. Alan Lazard coming to the Jets, my guy. I got a couple minutes left of lunch. I didn't even eat, but this is good news. So, okay, Diana Rossini was the one that broke the Aaron Rodgers wish list news again. She's killing it. Her and her and Trey Wingo, I think, were the names that they were chatting about yesterday. They've been on top of this Aaron Rodgers situation. So I wonder if Jamal Williams ends up being the next target. He wasn't on the list that Aaron Rodgers sent, but I think he would be a strong addition to the roster. Plus, I just want to hear a guy talk about anime during his interviews. It's fire. Yeah, I don't see anything else breaking in terms of the news, but with it be 2 million guaranteed, you got to believe this is only for 2 or 3 years at best. Okay, 22. I was gonna say, who are we talking about? I'm sure the way that Joe Douglas structures his 4-year contracts isn't too different from the 3 years, right? Essentially, he's guaranteed 2 years. The third year is probably coming at a pretty cheap rate. Or at least the third year is when we can essentially get out of the deal if we, don't like what we've gotten. Let's see. Showing love from BK. Hey, Brooklyn. Glad to have you come through. I appreciate you. Well, smart me. Of course, they're not going to have his contract automatically up, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that's been broken down. I think that's all we have, right? 4 years, 44 million, 22 million guaranteed. I don't think they broke down any other details about it. I'm not seeing anything. I would imagine that's what's happening, though. We're going to have a third year out. One Aaron, do you think he will be all in? I want to say I know where you're heading with this question. It wasn't 100% clear. But yeah, at this point, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is. I don't think he's dropping wish list and doing all of these things if he doesn't plan on playing. Those are mind games at another level. So it's essentially a 2-year deal, which tells me Rodgers is going to be here for at least 2 years. I'm not willing to go that far. I'm 100% sold that he's going to be here for a year. He's not really a guy that gets broken and all that kind of stuff. So I'm willing to accept he'll be here for a year. And I think the way that they structure some of these guys coming in is that they're giving themselves the leeway that If Aaron Rodgers stays, great. He still has the weapons that he likes, loves, and is comfortable with. If he moves on, though, we still have guys that we feel strongly about. Jets sign Alan Lazard. Yes, sir. Just win Jets. I think I know a lot of us was freaking out yesterday. Man, maybe not a lot of us, but I know the concern yesterday was that we didn't hear Aaron Rodgers news drop. But all things considered, I'm only upset so far about us not re-signing guard Nate Herbig. Other than that, I think we've had a pretty strong free agency as best as we can, with no official guarantees that Aaron Rodgers is going to be on the team. Quincy Williams, I think, was a good re-signing. We cut an irrelevant guard in Drew Samia. We re-sign our kicker, so we get Greg Zerling back, and I would predict that we see a much better season from him, since we won't have to rely on 50-plus yard kicks every game, multiple times a game. And now we've just went and got ourselves a 6'5" guy. Does he go to the Vikings after 1 year with us? Cousins on the move. If he does, I'm not even mad. I don't know what would entice him about going to the Vikings, though. They're a team that's going to be on the decline. They've sunken a lot of their resources into Kirk Cousins, who hasn't been able to push them over the hump. They're going to have to pay that man Justin Jefferson. I want to say they need to pay Dalvin Cook. I don't remember if he's gotten a contract from them or not recently, but let me see. Okay, yeah, so he got a 5-year, $63 million deal. So they have him on the books. It's they got a lot of things to be concerned about. I don't think he would be interested in going to the Vikings. Go get Lamar. I haven't been the biggest Lamar guy this whole time. Not a bad quarterback. He doesn't bring, well, depending on who you talk to, at least over the course of these last 2 years, he doesn't bring drama, in my opinion, at least nowhere near what we've seen with how this Aaron Rodgers stuff is unfolding. But I'm concerned his career may go the route of RG3. Not as bad. I think he's, and not to, disrespect RG3, but I think he's significantly more talented than what RG3 was. But yeah, I'm not a fan. Too risque for me. Just watched Lazard's 2022 highlights. Very excited. Best part, Aaron never seems to hesitate with him. It's like he's knowing exactly. Well, yeah, that's one of the benefits of getting yourself that you think is a number one wide receiver and then allowing him to grow within an offense with you. If you don't have chemistry with a quarterback after 4 or 5 years, I'd have to be concerned about what what your NFL future looks like, especially when you got a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who not many people will dispute is the best pure thrower of the football to come into the NFL. The only thing I don't love is his production's been a bit capped, right? So I'd probably say realistically, we're looking at like a 55 yard. We're looking at like maybe a 55 catch season from him. I still very much so think the offense could run through Garrett Wilson. And so Alan Lazard is technically more so of our new Corey Davis, our number 2. It's over. Rodgers is our quarterback. Facts. Let the man know, Barney. No more of this QB drama. We're just waiting for the news to drop on the 17th, hopefully. Hopefully before then. But Aaron Rodgers has to be sitting home in his hut or wherever he's staying at in Southern California, and he has to be celebrating. So it looks like Zach is the backup. I'm still not sold on that. He can still get all the benefits being a QB3 that he would be in a QB2 outside of suiting up for game days potentially. But still, he's going to be like a little gnat in Aaron Rodgers' ear. Like they're going to be tied to the hip for at least the next year. And he's obviously proven that he's not a guy that can work through the progressions on the field, and not, progressions in terms of his reads, but he's not a guy that can work through the motions of what's going wrong in a game and self-correct. We've always seen Zach Wilson at his best coming back from time away and being able to check things out. So I think that this will be very good for him. If Hall is healthy, the O will run through him. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be a run-first team. Nathaniel Hackett's history proves that. Keith Carter's history, our new offensive line coach, proves that. The running backs that we have in the running back room ideally prove that. Breece Hall for sure. I think Michael Carter will have a bounce back season to whatever degree that looks like. I'm excited about Knight. As much as I want Jamal Williams, everything in me from a smart roster building standpoint still says just find somebody in the 6th or a UDFA. It's just been proven time and time again now that you can get elite production from these guys. Facts. Nobody can tell me anything bad about Joe Douglas. Like, this man has been the epitome of an elite general manager, in my opinion, for the last, 7 to 10 years I've actually paid attention to the team. Now that we have Lazar for 4 years, I'm guessing we're going to have Aaron Rodgers for 2 to 3 years. My only problem was if we were only having Aaron Rodgers for 1, but the moves that we're making is, I don't know. I kind of spoke to this already. I think I'm still going in with the assumption that Aaron Rodgers will be a 1-year rental. And if we get anything more than that, I will be extremely excited. I think if Zach does get in some real games, he'll be a bit better because the pressure will be off. He's just got to get the footwork down to learn how to read the defense. Yeah, facts. It's a lot. We we give a lot of pressure to our quarterbacks in New York, or I guess New Jersey more specifically. And, I just jumped back into flag football, speaking of which. So I've been playing a little bit of everything, and watching everything develop from the quarterback perspective is tricky. So, I mean, ultimately, Robert Saleh has always put it best. You're playing a kid's game at a king's ransom. So we expect, we're talking about kids that have been playing since they're like 5, 6 years old. We expect you to be able to go out there and essentially be the best in the world. We would have dealt with a lot, even during his winning streak. He was only averaging, I want to say, like 130 yards and maybe not even a full touchdown over the, that 5-6 week span, whatever it was. And we were willing to accept that at the time. So it's not like we're asking for a whole lot. We want the W's. We want the wins. We got a little fancy last year and we wanted the wins in a certain way. But yeah, hopefully he pulls it together. I would hate to see us waste another pick. We need a new punter as well. Yes, 100%. I was one of the guys that was willing to overlook a lot of what was happening with Braden Mann, just because, I don't know. I can't even say I like the personality, but something about the guy didn't want me to, just send him to the wayside. But it's clear how much different the team looked when Thomas Morstead was helping us out as opposed to Braden Mann. Go ahead and get me that man again. JD is the best GM in Jets history. I'm a fan for 50 years. I take your word for it. Again, I've been a fan for 20 plus, but I've legitimately probably only paid attention the last 10 years. So we're talking like Tannenbaum and beyond. So it's not a hard mark to eclipse. But yeah, I would definitely think he's up there with the top 5 GMs in the league based on what he's been able to do. I hope this is not a 1-year rental, because if it is, I feel like that's a bad deal. I just got to see how much we're going to give up. That will determine it. If we don't reach the Super Bowl, anything over a 3rd round draft pick would have been terrible for me. And I'm just talking about the one singular pick. So I'm not a fan of 1-year rentals, considering kind of the plan in my head. That makes sense with waiting for, Zach Wilson to develop behind him and all that good stuff. That's the only logical reasoning I can think of here. I highly doubt Lazard signed that contract to have Zach Wilson as a quarterback the year prior to Aaron Rodgers being here for only 1 year. I mean, things change though. The understanding that the plan that a team will sell you on and what ultimately ends up happening can always change in a blink of an eye. Aaron Rodgers could be injured, and in comes Zach Wilson if we want to make up the main backup. Aaron Rodgers could ultimately bounce after just a year. I don't know. There's a lot to it. So you go in with the thinking and the belief in whatever the plan ultimately is, but at the end of the day, you can't help what's going to happen. Injuries will occur. Teams will decide that they, think the player is ready when they may or may not be. Different things could occur. So I mean, I just play it by ear, I guess, and we'll see what happens. I mean, we just talked about this the other day. Matter of fact, it's not too dissimilar from what happened with Corey Davis. From what I recalled, Corey Davis said that he understood Sam Darnold was going to be his quarterback of the future. We know that didn't happen. We got Zach Wilson. I think the argument Gunny and Gino made was that he didn't say it was Sam Darnold specifically, just that it was going to be a young quarterback. There's a rumor floating around that the Jets just signed Allen Lazard 4-year deal. Yeah, no. Everado is confirmed. It is definitely confirmed. We heard the news not too long ago. 4 years, $44 million, as you put, $22 million guaranteed. That's true. All that Corey Davis, because he was looking to play with Sam Darnold. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just from what I remembered off the top of my head. But I mean, such is life in the NFL. I will say it's probably a tougher pill to swallow for if it happens to Allen Lazard, because you're talking about going from a Hall of Famer that you've already been with for 4 to 5 years to Zach Wilson, who, people talk. I'm sure the sentiments in the locker room is that man couldn't hit water if he was already in the ocean. So that's a bit tougher, but my holy king, Aaron Rodgers is coming. What do you know that we don't know? What do you know that we don't know, my mans? I need you to tune me in. These are the times where I'm upset that I am not on like Twitter and stuff. I don't think I see anything else though about anything related to Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything one way or the other from him. That's fine. My only thing is, if this is a 1-year rental, we will have to have Aaron Rodgers on the books regardless if it's half going with the Packers, but his contract goes up to 2026. Yeah, so that was also part of my initial. So originally when people were saying Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, the first thought was all I ever hear about is drama with Aaron Rodgers. I don't want it. We worked hard to build a culture, our culture. I don't want it disturbed. The second piece was the contract. So I know they added a bunch of void years and how they did these option bonuses and all of this craziness. It doesn't matter what happens in terms of the restructure and the negotiations between the Packers and the Jets. If we traded for him, we were always going to take on this dead cap space that was going to be pushed into future years. So this is just kind of the risk that we're taking in order to become Super Bowl champions this year is, kind of how I look at it. It's a lot less risky than what teams like, the Rams have done, where they're trading a lot of their future investment resources and draft picks in order to build a team. They went and captured themselves a Super Bowl, but then now it's going to be hard because they have large contracts. They can't necessarily go and find top tier or even in a lot of cases average to the regular eye talents to replace the cupboards. And then you're looking at draft picks that are probably at best third, fifth round picks. So at least we're not in that situation. At best, we're talking about giving up 2 firsts at one point a while back. Hopefully that's nowhere near close to still being on the table, but still, I think overall we're coming out ahead. Also, Joe Douglas has done a very good job of making sure, and he's called this out himself, that we don't have a lot of dead cap space being taken up in our cap. So Aaron Rodgers will be the most expensive guy that we've had since, CJ Mosley originally on the books. A roster's great will be relevant with or without A-Rod. All we need is a competent quarterback. A-Rod will take us to the next level. Yeah, 100%. When it comes to pure talent, I have nothing to say about the man and what he can do there. It's everything else that it's a little irritating. Jets fans coming out the woodworks. We've always been here. What I will say is the bandwagon is going to get filled very quick. The bandwagon might need to be turned into a train because it's going to be a lot of people ready for the smoke. But we've been here. Even during the bad years. New York Jets fans are ready to turn up at any little small piece of success we can grasp onto. What are my thoughts on OBJ? I don't like him being on the wish list. I don't care for what he would bring talent-wise or personality-wise to the New York Jets. Specifically for the wide receiver room, because we've seen OBJ have adverse reactions to bad quarterback play before. We've seen the diva, personality traits where even when they've been having success in the game and different things like that, he's still, requested to get the ball more and more and more. He's not at the same level he was, right? I just mentioned this, I think maybe at best still, he may be an above average number 2, but he's not the main weapon on most offenses these days anymore. So the same things he's been doing before aren't going to fly here. I do think his personality maybe can bleed into some of these younger guys we have. We've seen Garrett Wilson get visibly frustrated with Zach Wilson. And, when things aren't operating as he thinks the offense should. We've seen how Elijah Morris responded to adversity, and this is when things were going well. Denzel Mims is really the only outlier, in my opinion. Obviously, we have the veteran Corey Davis, but Denzel Mims is the only one that had a legit case in my head for his trade request. He didn't think he was seeing the field and being given legit opportunities, but he never made a big fuss about it. So I wouldn't want somebody that potentially would be a locker room cancer like OBJ in the building. I just hope we keep Elijah Moore because I really don't want Cobb. I would imagine if we do get Cobb for some reason, he becomes the main backup slot wide receiver. I don't think he's just automatically the starter. But yeah, I don't know. It depends on the contract. He's an upgrade over Braxton, in my opinion. But, is it worth it? To spend what is probably going to take to get him, maybe $7 million or what did I say before? I want to say I said 7. He just had a 3-year, $27 million contract, so somewhere between 5 and 7 million. All right, Dark Soldier, appreciate you being in, boss. I'm about to call it a day too, so I can get back to work. I love our culture. Trust me, I get it. The Jets haven't been to the playoffs in over 13 years, so we definitely need to make a move. And I think this is probably the best move that we can make for now. Yeah, 100%. I think Derek Carr keeps our window open for a lot longer, right? But if Aaron Rodgers comes in and we're Super Bowl contenders for 2 years in a row, perfect. If we get us a ring or two, outstanding. Um, but I still look at this as until we get a young quarterback in the mold of like a Zach Wilson, this is still essentially his team to be determined. So my chips is still in on Zach Wilson. I hope he improves in the background and things happen. And may the football gods bless us because it's been a long time. DKB doing a good job on YouTube. I've been on a while enjoying your content. Hey, I appreciate that, my man. It's definitely not in my normal range of activities. I hate talking in front of people unless I have to. But I love my Jets, and the fan base is fire. So it's always a pleasure. I appreciate that, though. For me, it was either Lamar Jackson or Aaron Rodgers. Nah, Derek Carr was my number one option, even when Aaron Rodgers seemed like he was sort of realistic. After Aaron Rodgers, things fell off a cliff, and this is where people start. This is where people start throwing fire at me. But that's when I started really looking at guys like Gardner Minshew and like a Jacoby Brissett or maybe a Jameis Winston as backup options. Peace. All right, King, you have a good one, boss. I am going to wrap it up in the next few moments. I'm just running through these last comments. I'll tell you this, if we had Aaron Rodgers last year, we would have never lost 6 games in a row. We would have been in playoffs for sure. We had lost it. Yeah, facts. This gives me a lot of I think we're looking at a 13-win team minimum, in my opinion, as long as the defense plays anywhere close to what they did last year. So that's where I'm at. I'm thinking 13 wins in my head. We were very excited with a quarterback combination of Zach Wilson, who got us 5 wins, and Mike White, who wasn't necessarily able to pull off any magic in the win-loss category, but who definitely played significantly better. So facts, not too big on OBJ either. We're already going to be dealing with Aaron Rodgers' personality to a certain extent. I can't even imagine. Yeah, it's a lot. I know Aaron Rodgers really wants to play with Odell Beckham for some reason, but yeah, maybe he's gonna have to visit that. He's gonna have to go night night and visit that in his dreams because I don't see us. I can't see it. Love the Cleveland Brown jacket. Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, actually, there's a lot of people on it. This is just some of the famous like black cartoon anime characters. So I got Proud Family. I got Huey, Riley from the Boondocks and all that on there. I don't trust Derek Carr. I think he's very underrated. He had a shitstorm of a situation with the Raiders, and he still had, what was it, a 69-78 win-loss record, something like that. Consistently had one of the worst defenses in the league. Consistently had at best only 1 or 2 weapons on the offense, and still was able to get his team to the playoffs twice. Out of those, what was it, 8 years or something like that he's been with the Raiders. So, and I think he's one of the better, 12 to 15 quarterbacks in the league. So, how far do you think the Saints will go with Carr? It's a good question. The NFC is trash. Let me see what the Saints have with them again. Alvin Kamara is not going to have an opportunity to play, really. Michael Thomas is coming back, but the man has played 3 games in like 3 years. Taysom Hill as a weapon. Juwan Jones, Chris Olave is a nice piece for them. Right Rashid Shaheed, Marshawn Lattimore, Jarvis Landry, Mark Ingram. They have a few nice pieces still. I think he makes the offense more consistent, but I don't know if they have anything that will take them over the edge. I think they could. I think they have playoff potential, but I think they're a team that I would imagine is an easy playoff exit. Carr to the Saints will not be as successful as if he was a Jet. NFC, though, he will at least be a playoff team. Yeah, facts. All right, guys, it's been great. Way over on my lunch break, anyways, but I've been finessing work in the background, so all good. I'm going to go and try to get me a cup of noodle or something and hit the work trail again. But I appreciate y'all coming in and linking up for a bit. Been trying to jump in some live streams more often, but appreciate you guys. I'll catch you guys again. Enjoy your work days or your time off, whatever you're looking like. So, peace.